was a recent study just a few years ago about how we've lost collectively 3 billion birds in North America.
With climate change, one of our biggest concerns is extinction of species. And with climate change, we're going to see more of that. So what we can do as individuals is help create the habitat, the places for those critters to live, and we can do it in our own backyard.
I advocate for native plants because our native wildlife evolved with the native plants. They didn't evolve with plants from Southeast Asia or South America, and they're often important connections in terms of those evolutionary relationships.
I explore my yard and I say, well, what can I find today? What are the insects I find in my yard? Which bees are there? What pollinators are there? What other, insects are there? So it's always interesting. And then I've noticed that I have a wide diversity of birds in my yard too.
I think encouraging people to grow native plants is kind of also just like a complete paradigm shift in terms of how we think about gardens and also our relationship to nature, and understanding that it's a much more nuanced, interconnected thing and that you can't really remove yourself from it.
I can't imagine not planting a native plant when there is a native plant option, because I know how much trouble our pollinators and our birds and all of our other wildlife is having because we keep clearing more and more of the American landscape, and we're replacing it with a landscape from another continent that's starving our insects and our birds to extinction.
I started Meadowmarsh Farm and realized that there was a tremendous need for native plants, and there was very few people in the native plant business then. And it fascinated me.
We're not going to survive if we lose pollinators. We're not going to survive if we lose viable food webs. If the plants crash, I think, what's the figure? 44% of our plants are at risk of extinction at this point. More and more people recognize that the Earth has some serious issues, but they all feel powerless. What can one person do? One person cannot change the entire planet, but one person can influence the piece of the planet that they, quote, own.
You have to think about 7 generations down the road, and what are we gonna leave for our 7 generations? The Earth is what supports us.